got your butter on top Y2K and a drunk classic that's going to make you cry. Let's go. Popcorn and beers, where some use tomatoes and others use thumbs. We use the stuff that gets you drunk. Welcome back to your mother's, brother's, auntie's, sister's favorite podcast. And I know you guys are all getting together for the holidays, and we've already had Thanksgiving, and now we have Christmas, which is just another excuse to pull the whole family together, get everybody in one house, stop your uncles from their racist arguments, and make sure that you call out the right names on the Christmas presents, because babies will cry if they open the wrong gift. Just ask my little sister Ariel. Anyway,
it's an avocado. Thanks.
You got an avocado? It's going to be good for 2 days. Take you into the new year. But you know what? You take the seed out of that bad boy and you plant a tree. But anyway, where I was going with that is, yes, Jiordan is the only one that got to see our butter on top. And before we get to that, since he's the only one that saw it, is there any movies that are like family movies, not my old ass for Jordan, but any family movies that you guys throw on at these gatherings that, like, no matter what people's like personal politics are or relationships between each other, everybody just gathers around, is like, this is a good movie. Yeah, watch this. Any of those movies?
I feel like Just Go With It is always on. It's syndicated, yeah.
With Adam Sandler?
Yeah. It's like syndicated. It runs 24/7.
It's just the least likely place I saw this conversation. I thought he was going to say, like, a Christmas story. He's like, yeah, just go with it.
It's always on TV.
Adam Sandler trying to hook up with Jennifer Aniston. All right, but that gets everybody to, like, say it's a good movie and sit around and, like, shut up, set everything aside?
Yeah, he's the sheep guy, Nick Swartzen. Hilarious. Yeah.
We saw his stand-up recently. Not to brag or anything, but I got two families, and not like one is secret. It's like I got
wait, what?
No, I got mom and dad and stepmom. So the two families. So with dad and stepmom, it's three amigos for sure. Christmas times we watch all the old stop motions and the Rudolph Red-Nosed Reindeer. We like all laugh at how awful that movie is. I don't know if you've seen Rudolph recently. We can talk about that later. I'm sure we will. But and then mom's house
Christmas movie elitist.
Over mom's house we do a lot of "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?" We quote that a lot. Okay. It's constant. Both families, Napoleon Dynamite, and then of course you got Tombstone, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. Again, no, not expected. It's all right. So I was gonna go with The Grinch with Jim Carrey. So here we are. Let's tie it all back. But I think like you could throw that on, and that's one of those DVDs that when it gets to the home screen, like people just hit play again on the home screen. Like it played once already. You already watched it. But yeah, like back. Then granddad's walking by, just run it again. Let's just keep it playing on a loop, baby. And it's everything. And if you look, it's 20 years old, over 20 years old. But that is a near perfect character role by Jim Carrey, I think, is him as the Grinch. It doesn't get better.
It's in the perfect casting, perfect execution role. It's a small tier. Like who's the Gangs of the New York guy? He's like known for a lot of those.
Daniel Day-Lewis.
Yeah.
Day-Lewis. And then of course you got the Heath Ledger, you got the Jackie Nicholson.
The Meryl Streep.
Like Napoleon Dynamite. Impossible. No one else could have done that. John Heater.
Yeah.
Anne Hathaway. Sorry, you're just naming off a bunch of dudes. Let's mix it up a little bit, Josh. Let's get some Meryl Streep, some Jennifer Lawrence. So let's get some ladies, some Sidney Poitier.
Well, what did Jennifer Lawrence has that was absolutely perfect? Let's just start with that. Jennifer Lawrence, what was her perfect
Silver Linings Playbook.
All right. Penelope Cruz in Blow. Yeah. Perfect.
Yes. Perfect casting. Jack Sparrow, Johnny Depp, white guy, but that's probably one of the most perfect castings ever. Scarlett Johansson was really good as Black Widow.
She was good as a lot of her things. And then if we're talking about powerhouses, also Zoe Saldana, killer.
Saldana, you made her an MMA fighter just now. Zoe Saldana.
Saldana in the black trunks. She's got a right hook that'll take you.
Saldana is like a Brazilian MMA. Zoe Saldana. All right, but anyway, yeah. So that was a fun trip down memory lane. I like to think about those movies you could put on in the background. I used to throw on what is it? Where it's not Escape from New York. It's more recent, but there's like they launched a British lady into the world that has fallen apart, and one kingdom has like swords, and another one's the punk rebels. Jordan said he really loves this movie. No. Well, Jordan said he really loved it when I talked about it last time. Doomsday, is that what it was called? Something like that.
I like that movie.
Doomsday.
Yeah, I used to throw that on when I was barbecuing every once in a while because you just look back and it's just like murder, like something crazy's going on.
You can make up the words.
Yeah, exactly. It needs no words. That would be another good category for us to do someday.
For sure.
When
The Shining,
we're done exploring Y2K and just say, hey, what could you throw on in the background? You need no words, but. Let's explore some of The Shining.
That's true, bro. Just put on a record and watch The Shining. It's dope.
All right, so Y2K, Jordan. This is a Jonah Hill project, right?
Yes, Jonah Hill produced, written by Kyle Mooney of what is it? Saturday Night Live.
Yeah,
and,
I love Kyle Mooney.
He plays a pretty big part in this movie, and he just kind of demonstrates why some guys are only made for sketch comedy, like why that's their avenue. And he kind of doesn't translate well to movie.
Sure.
He's a bit repetitive in his antics and things that he tries to do to be funny on in the movie, and it just the whole thing comes off like an SNL sketch. But it's the year is 1999 and everybody's excited for New Year's, and then all hell breaks loose when the machines take over, right? They start I don't know
away?
They start they start conglomerating. All the machines start coming together and forming bigger machines, and this whole like singularity hive mind.
I just saw that Fred Durst is in this.
He is. He's very much in this, and it makes you want that. It's one of the highlights. Like it makes you want to go listen to some Limp Bizkit. I'm not gonna lie to you. Look, Limp Bizkit T-shirt on.
The Kid Leroy is also in this.
He is, and he's very obnoxious, trying to do he's pretty bad at trying to do an American accent because he's like Australian. But it has its witty lines and moments, but it more so it's just corny, bad, cheesy, corny writing. Like, oh, you have to destroy your camcorder; it's gonna kill us. Isn't that racist against machines? Like,
oh my god!
Yeah, like that doesn't even it's just dumb. Don't watch this movie, honestly. But
really?
It's nonstop. Yeah, it's nonstop 2000s nostalgia. So it's a fun little blast from the past. There's a hilarious death scene where the guy from Stranger Things with the long hair, the long black hair, the pizza guy.
Yeah.
He they're trying to make their escape, and he puts on rollerblades, and there's a downed pole of some sort, and he's like, I got this. I almost qualified for X Games 98. And he like tries to do a rail slide on this thing and just falls and smacks his head and dies. And it's pretty hilarious. It's like an all-time great death scene. So, I mean, even that might be a little bit worth it. But, no, avoid it. Yes.
Yep. Okay.
What's the rating?
Oh, man. Popcorn.
I
don't even want to give it a popcorn. It's bad.
Does it have any redeeming qualities at all? Like anything that would make you want to go see it outside of Fred Durst singing "Rollin'"?
You see any kits?
Do you? Yeah, a little bit. Watching some porno on his dial-up modem. Yeah. But this totally should have been a Netflix movie. What?
That's just funny that you responded to my stupid ass question.
Sometimes we veer blue, and we're working on that. We're working on that. Well, not really. We're not really working on it. There have been no meetings. It's got a decent cast. It's definitely got a Saturday Night Live cast. Like Rachel Ziegler's in this. Yeah. Julian Dennison. That nepotism kid is in it. Fred Heikinger, who's been in like everything lately. So there's a lot going on, but I could see why I would never watch this as well. Like that's
I
also
see.
involved.
Yeah.
I see Kyle Mooney, honestly, like, I think he's going to be in the greats. Like, he's going to be on the Hall of Fame. I think he's one of my favorite bit characters and one of my favorite writers. He's just weird. Reminds me of Tim Robinson. So yeah, I would see it just for him, but you say it's not worth it, so never mind.
It's not good, but like I feel like they really leaned into the whole like they're trying to make a bad early 2000s sci-fi movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Small soldiers.
No bueno.
Yeah.
Well, we should talk about like a 1988 non-sci-fi movie. Something that is animated, something that is scene by scene. Josh is going to tell us that probably 15 minutes were hand drawn and the camera never moved. And I'm very interested in that. How you do?
I'm
how do you have a
very
camera?
interested in
How
that.
do you have a camera in an animated film? Please explain. But yeah, no, it was Grave of the Fireflies. Did I say that right, Josh? It was Josh's drunk classic, and it was. I think it's objectively a beautiful movie. Like, I'm sorry, like I think no one can argue that, especially if you equate the time it came out, like 1988, for it to be this pretty. It has no anyway. Josh, go ahead and tell me about Grave of the Fireflies and why you chose this.
Grave of the Fireflies. Oh, well, I think it's just one of those movies that I said last time. It's everyone's gonna watch it once and they'll probably never watch it again because it's just heartbreaking, like deeply. There's very few movies I can think of that are even close to as sad or sadder. But it's based on a true story pretty closely because the filmmaker is very acute to detail, but it's based on a book written by a man who experienced this. So the main character is the author. It's about the fire bombings the Allies did against Japan before the big bomb dropped in 1945, and it's the true story of two kids just trying to survive that time. It's so sad. It's so sad, but it's like you said, it's beautiful in such a way. A lot of times you say, or sometimes it's said, why wouldn't you just make this live action? Or, this could have been a different medium. Why did it have to be this? But I think it would be too sad. Correct, I would say. And that's my point to a lot of animes and animated things in general. Family Guy doesn't get away with 90% of the stuff it does if it's live action, right? The
That's
cartoon
true.
makes it okay.
Oh, yeah.
So the horror of this show is it's not acceptable, but it's viewable because it's drawn in such attention to detail and it's just gorgeous. It is done in the 80s. At the same time, Roger Rabbit came out. So there's a little comparison to animation styles. And I'm not saying one's better or worse. Roger Rabbit was incredible. But
Yeah.
This is nothing like Roger Rabbit. I just want to be very clear.
No,
Before
not
he
at
said
all.
animation styles, there's no relatable qualities to Roger Rabbit outside of maybe,
I'm
and I
just
defer
saying-
to Josh's experience,
just
outside
saying-
of maybe the animation.
No, I'm just saying, like, while America was doing this, Japan was doing that. That's all I'm saying. A thing about anime that I love so much, and it was a discovery as a kid, was like, this is a world that opened up showing me that cartoons don't have to be just superheroes and robots and dinosaurs and bunnies. Like, it can be so much more. And this is a prime example. It can be nightmare fuel. Anyway, based on a true story, the attention to detail is wonderful. It's so cool to see a historical movie, a historical film told from a point of view that you don't really get to see.
No, it's close to a day ruiner. Pardon me.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a day ruiner all day. I'll let y'all get into that. But the animation style is incredible. The attention to detail, the little parallels with the Fireflies and stuff. I really needed that last part at the very end when you just see the fun times. Oh, I needed that.
Yeah.
When you see the fun times, all
Like, this is
60
when we
seconds.
were. Remember when we were happy? Beautiful film. I give it a pop. I give it a popcorn in 3. You guys go ahead. Yeah.
Remember when I let you die in a cave because Auntie was mean to us and sold our mother's stuff? Worth it!
He was like 10.
It was something that I can say I've watched, I've endured. It is my burden now forever. But it was good. Totally not my thing, but it's still a popcorn in like two. You can't deny that this was like really well made.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful movie. It's really sad, tragic, but
Probably wins an Oscar if they were doing animated Oscars at that
oh
time.
yeah, yeah,
Easy.
for sure. Yeah, I liked it though. Good pick.
Cool.
What was your favorite part? When
Yeah,
they were starving?
my favorite
When
part
the
was
when the auntie stole their ice and gave it to the
when
this
he
When those
goes and he
kids
starts
kicked in their
doing
camp, like, oh, I'm so
Yeah.
mad.
when he finds out his mom like burned to death, and then he goes outside and like starts doing bar spins.
Yeah.
That was my favorite part for sure.
I mean, like it's throughout the film. He never really wants to acknowledge that his mother's dead until the little sister's like, "I know
Yeah.
they buried mom like this" when she's burying the Fireflies.
Yeah.
That was wrenching. And then when she's in delirium and she's like, "I made you rice balls and tempura
boy.
mud
Yeah.
that she caked together, and she's eating marbles." Because like pretending that they're candy because like I said she's delirious. Like that was a rough movie to watch, and like how he finds her with the bugs crawling all over her face.
Yeah.
And it's really, it was a lot. I mean, you see a lot about how selfish humans are too, like in this world. And the sad thing is it's probably going to play out that way again if it ever happens. Like humans are, it's already playing out that way. What am I saying? I'm like,
It
humans are very
happens
selfish
all the time. That's the
Yeah,
thing about
humans
this.
are
Yeah, it's historical. It's historical and it's true. All these things happen, but like, and also this is happening everywhere. There's kids in Ukraine right now, etc. Like, it's happening right now, and
Yeah.
this is a perspective you don't see very often. And there's a reason because it's so killer. But
Yeah.
yeah,
It made me
it's
feel
something we
bad.
all must know and must see.
About not giving the girl that sat next to me on the bench when everyone's train was canceled my charger. I mean, I was using it. It was really weird that she sat down next to me and asked if she could use my portable charger. But it was the weirdest experience ever. But now Josh just made me feel terrible about telling her I'm using it. I was like trying to show her too. Like I have to justify using my charger in this moment. I'm like, I'm on 37%. Like I need to get home.
Mm.
But that is a true story. That really happened. Just a random girl sat next to me and said, "Can I use your portable charger while I was
Yeah.
using it?"
You're gonna think
It
about that
made me
girl the
now.
rest of your life.
Now she's probably eating like rice balls that are not real rice balls just to survive because I didn't let her use my charger in that moment.
Hmm.
So thanks for equating it to that, Josh. Uh, no, it was beautifully shot as far as the animation is concerned. Stands up with a lot of animation we see today on like a Nickelodeon, if that still exists. Well, a Cartoon Network, if that still exists. I think Cartoon Network went under.
Did
So
it?
yeah,
They're
Cartoon
they're
Network's gone.
owned. All the characters are owned by like Hasbro or somebody.
Yeah, but Cartoon Network's gone. They took down their website and everything.
Really?
Yeah, it's interesting where we're going with some of this stuff. I mean, soon we're gonna have three companies that run entertainment, three companies that run all of shipping and
Soon.
shopping, and yeah,
Soon.
that's true. We're close.
We're there.
I mean, we're close to having cable packages again. As far as Grave of the Fireflies, it explains why it is that. It's a tearful scene where she has to bury her little lamps because they start to die, and they utilize that as almost an allegory as to where they're headed. Once you run out of food, run out of oxygen, you have nowhere to run or to stretch, you're going to die, and inevitably that is what happens. I think it's fascinating the doctor doesn't hook her up to an IV so she can get proper fluids and
What
some
IV?
nutrition. Like, he's just like, she's
Think
SOL.
Think about COVID, dog. Like they're full. Like they only have so many Band-Aids, bro.
But she's a little girl. Like, I don't know, man. Now
Yeah, I know
I'm
what you
getting into
mean.
like who do we let die and who do we let live type stuff. But
Right.
like, she's
Triage
got her
stuff.
whole life ahead of her. You know what I'm saying? Like in this movie, she's literally like the littlest kid ever. They call her a toddler, I think, a couple times in it, so she's no older than 3 years old. And you literally watch her erode through an entire movie. So if you want to see a little girl just erode through an entire film like that beautifully, I guess this is the film for you. Lots of sad music. There's no upbeat music in it. It's just dreary. Josh was not kidding. A group of kids, like, just when things are, hey, look at us, we've got a stove and a cave to live in. I'm gonna kill your cat. Like,
Yeah.
jeez. Like, they couldn't have 5 minutes of happiness throughout this film. Like, they're gonna get made fun of for eating dehydrated frogs and stuff. which is like, boil that frog up, man. Like, we
yeah.
eat that stuff. What are you doing? Why you dehydrate? Boil that bad boy up. Go cook it like a chicken. What are we doing? Where did this 10-year-old learn how to cook? Anyway, it's a popcorn too. It's really sad. It's a really sad movie. It is Josh's movie to give us, and we watched it, and like Jordan said, we could all see. Anyway, Josh, actually, I do want to say thank you for giving us that. I probably would have never, ever, ever, ever watched it without your recommendation. It is a lovely film, and I'm not crapping on it. I'm just being honest with the audience. Like, it is tough. It's tough, it's tough, it's tough. The little kid at one point, I think, gets his ass kicked, like, for miles. Just gets his ass kicked for, like, a full mile to the police station.
For some sugar cane, baby.
Yeah. To try to make his sister feel better. Like, it's rough, man. But, again, you should probably watch it. It's probably important. I think it might be. I think it sends a message that we might need.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's clean this up a little bit with a stand-up comedy. One of us watched a stand-up comedy. I think his name was Josh.
George! I watched Fortune Feimster. I think it's on Netflix. The special is called Crushed It. You might know... Yeah, thank you. You might know Fortune Feimster from just about every little comedy thing on Netflix that's been popping up. But
she's Schwarzenegger's show Fubar.
She's in Fubar. She had a big come up in the early 2010s on the Chelsea Handler phenomenon that was going on Bravo or E. I don't remember which. Chelsea Handler had Chelsea Lately, then she had the Chelsea talk show, and Fortune Feimster was commonly on the panel there, and she's just funny. She's a little lesbian from like Texas, and no, she's not little. She's a big girl, and she knows it.
Was she in the Mindy Project too? I think she was in the stand-up.
She's in a lot of stuff. Yeah, she's got some good stand-up.
Part in Office Christmas Party.
Was she in Office Christmas Party?
Yeah, love that.
Okay.
I actually listen to her quite often on her podcast, Handsome. It's her, Tig Notaro, and some other funny lady. It's three lesbians that just talk, and then a celebrity asks them a question, like, you ever been on a date? And then they talk about that, and that's it. I love Tig Notaro. I love Fortune Feimster. Fortune Feimster is just like a cute little cupcake with a side of sweet tea. And it was a good stand-up. I say it's a popcorn one. Nothing groundbreaking, but it was funny. She talks about her honeymoon, and she went to the Maldives. And while she's flying to the Maldives, she finds out that it's very illegal to be gay in the Maldives. And then it's her honeymoon with her lesbian wife, and they have to stop in Qatar or Qatar. And she's like, I don't know if you know this, but in Qatar, it's even more illegal to be gay. Talks about a lot with her mother, which kind of hit home like, uh-oh, my dad left, so now I married my mother. That was my punishment. And, and I don't know. Overall, just pretty funny stuff. I like her a lot. So Popcorn 1. Netflix.
Yeah, I mean, she's been funny and everything. She's good with one-liners, though. That's what I've noticed.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
she quips at you.
Yeah, she's a queen of one-liners. Like, boom, and you're like, that was really funny, that line she slipped in there.
Yeah.
A lot of her stuff is the same. I will say that. Like, sure. A lot of it is, hey, I'm a gay woman. And it's like,
yeah, not super
a lot of it is that. Like, a lot of it, that is her lane. She stays in it.
Bread and butter, yeah.
But some of that can be admired. To just like, look, I know who I am. I know what about me makes people laugh, and that's what I'm just gonna keep leaning into this until the ATM stops spitting out cash. All right, well, I also watched a movie that was another Christmas movie. This one is with Brian Cox as Santa Claus.
Brian Cox, yes. Remind me.
Brian Cox is the voice of your McDonald's commercials. He is in Succession. He plays the father.
Okay.
In Succession, what's his name? Something Roy? I can't remember. Gosh, it just went off the air this year, and I already forgot his name. Something Roy.
The old man, right?
Anyway. Yeah, Brian Cox.
Yeah.
Is he in the Ring, too?
That guy. Yeah, he was in the first Ring. He's the guy who jumps in the bathtub. He was Samara's father.
Really?
Yeah.
That's right.
Huh. I didn't even think about that. Honestly, the role that I most know him from is, at this point, Succession, just because I love that TV show so much. It's the same thing with the actor that plays Tom in that.
I'll review that later. I just started watching that, and it's damn good.
It's such a good show. You know what it's based on, right?
Me.
It's Rupert Murdoch and Fox,
Yeah.
essentially.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
So that's what they're attacking there. And Logan Roy, that's his name, Logan Roy. And he is so killer in that movie. He's also in Troy. I forgot he plays
Oh yeah,
what is it, Agamemnon?
Agamemnon. Yeah.
Yeah, in Troy. So Braveheart, he's in the new Lord of the Rings animation that comes out this weekend.
Anything where there's a sword, he's in it.
Well, I actually am looking forward to this. I probably won't be able to review it this week because I have a flight situation and we have a different butter on top this week. But the War for Rohrheim, however you pronounce
the
it.
Lord of the Rings thing.
Yeah, it looks good, man. The animation looks great in that coming out. So he's also Super Troopers. There you go, Josh.
Oh yeah. He bites the soap.
Yeah. And if one more person says shenanigans. But what's funny is he's another one of those like classically trained actors.
Yeah.
That like he despises. So you know the actor that plays his son, Jeremy Strong, is a method actor, right? He's a method actor, and Logan Roy and him apparently just did not, or pardon me, Logan Roy, Brian Cox did not get along because he thinks method acting's bullshit.
Yeah.
And he goes off on it. He's like, we're paid to do a job. You come in, you do your damn job. You don't need to be in this character 24 hours a day to do your job. You're paid to be an actor. Go act. Like, it was crazy. Like, leads into him. But anyway, the story of that Christmas is a story, and they don't really explain it super. I just found out that there's going to be an Old Man season 3, so I'm very excited about that. Sorry, everyone. I apologize. But it's one of my favorite shows on TV right now. All right. So this is kind of like they open. It's a PC Christmas movie, kind of, about a kid that moves to town, and he has to play the. What do you make chickpea? The chickpea. I was gonna say what do you make hummus out of, but he has to play the chickpea and what's the play they do every year for Christmas?
Nativity.
The nativity, yeah. So he's got to do the chickpea for the three wise men and everything, but it's a new take on this play that was written, and it's like a vegan feast and all this stuff.
Oh, good. Okay, I was waiting for like why is chickpea? Okay.
Yeah.
But it's very cartoon. It's an animated movie, but they move past this, and then you get to see into the relationship with him, and his mother's a nurse, and his dad's not around. He's one of those deadbeat dads that never shows up, right? Like it's like his dad's gonna be here for Christmas, and he's so excited, and the dad never shows up. And in this, yes, Santa Claus is real, played by Brian Cox, as I said earlier. You get a lot of like the new kid syndrome, but in this, he's not really bullied. There's no bullying of this kid. It's just kind of no one talks to him because no one knows who he is. And eventually, it all culminates when a bunch of kids' parents decide they're going to go party Christmas Eve, and they get stuck in a snowstorm and aren't able to make it back. And the whole town has to come together to try to get them rescued. But wait, it's not all. Then, when the family and the parents get rescued, the little girl goes missing, and the whole town has to go find the little girl for Christmas to bring the whole town together. It's a happy movie, to be honest, and it's cute. It's good animation. I was into it. I think if you have kids, it's a good story about like how you got to accept each other. I think you can look past some of the PC stuff they try to push at you, and it goes into sometimes we all have different personalities. The way I'm nice may not be the way you're nice, and we need to be able to perceive these things about each other. It's not one size fits all on kindness. It's not one size fits all on generosity. I think everybody has their own style of giving what they can. I think everybody has their own style of being like I'm sarcastic, but the people that know I love them like know I love them. Like I'm not good at like the other stuff. You got to just kind of accept I am who I am, and I'm not saying adapt to me, but I'm not changing. I'm not good at it. but the people around me I think know it. And it's same goes for work. And this movie kind of pitches that because they have a group of twins and they're different, but they're both super nice. But one is your stereotypical nice person, does stuff for everybody, tries to protect her family, and the other person kind of appears to be mischievous, and they don't really know. They're just like, oh, she's just acting out, she's just a bad kid. But then they find like her little journal, and it's like plans of why she's mischievous and how it helps the people around her with her little mischievous actions. And
so she's a sociopath.
Sure, sure. Popcorn at one, but definitely a good movie that I think you can sit down and hang out with the family and watch this holiday season. Josh, you said you
Hi.
watched Santa's Coming to Town.
Santa Claus coming town. Yeah, I watched Santa's Coming to Town. It was
Okay,
one of
Ed
those.
Helms from The Office.
uh, Santa Claus Coming to Town. It's the 60s. When this was made, a stop motion puppetry claymation stuff with Burgermeister Meisterburger. You guys seen this, right? Both of them. Both you both seen this.
Probably.
It's where Santa Claus. It's the origin of Santa.
Is it where Santa Claus is
baby,
coming to town?
And then he comes to town.
Sorry.
They sing songs. I know you've seen this. It's on TV all the time. It's the guy. He starts with the mail carrier. He'll look at this letter from the kid, and then the kids sometimes ask him like, "Is that why Santa always does the chimney?" Yeah, that's right, kid. And then they sing a song, and it's very 60s with they do like a little montage of like psychedelic coloring while the girl sings her song about "Now I'm in love with Santa," and it's funny. It's charming because like back then, this is like top-notch TV stuff, and you can see the wires on the puppets, and like the animation is so choppy, but it has its appeal. It doesn't make much sense. It's like 45 minutes at the most.
So it really is like a short made for TV.
It's a TV special.
Hour-long special.
I know you've seen this. If I show you a frame, you would be like, oh yeah, that thing. Yeah. Anyway, it's a popcorn and one just based on nostalgia. It's just quick and easy. Here's Christmas.
Okay, all right. Here's Christmas with a spittoon, right? All right. So I watched Subservience, which I think Megan was that a drunk classic this year or last year?
Megan Fox.
Not drunk classic, a butter on top. No, Megan.
Yeah,
Megan.
Butter on top. This last year, yeah.
Last year, it was a butter on top last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it had to have been last year. No, it was this year. It was this year because Megan was at Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights this year. Because I remember the videos were everywhere of her like doing like the head movement and all that stuff with like the parade. So this is basically Megan grown up, starring Megan Fox as Alice, the automaton AI.
I've seen the trailer for this. Yeah,
that is serving a family who is in need as the mother, played by Madeline Zima, falls ill to a heart condition and needs a heart transplant. It was very silly the way they set it up. It was very clumsy and like, all right, quick, start the credits, heart attack, okay, new heart, hospital, she needs a robot to protect her, story's going. That's how it went. Like, it was boom, 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 boom. And then, you get the whole thing where the mother might die, so she has a conversation with the robot about protecting her family and all this. And then she gets really confused. I'm like, oh, this is where the AI is going to rewrite itself. And this is where the story, the lines are going to get a little bit blurred. She's not going to know what's right and what's wrong. Nope. It's over watching Casablanca with the husband. That's where the lines get blurred. One of the best movies of all time. I believe it's Casablanca. I may have it wrong, but it's like Casablanca. I think it's Casablanca.
Gone with the Wind, whatever.
Yeah, and it's definitely not Gone with the Wind. I think it's Casablanca. Like I'm like right there at 60%. But anyway,
explain that though. What do you mean?
So
they make out.
So the husband, played by just powerhouse hunk Michelle Moron, is that his name?
Moron, probably.
Michelle Moron. Just beautiful man. Like one of the most beautiful men you've ever seen in your life. He's that guy. And I'm like, okay. So he's sitting on the couch, and it's totally outside of his character, by the way. His character's like this gruff construction guy, kind of an alcoholic, works on cars, but loves Casablanca. Anyway, he is sitting on the couch watching Casablanca. The AI comes to join him after putting the kids to sleep, and he goes, "This is one of the best movies ever. Do you know it?" And then she says, "I do." And he goes, "No, but do you know it, or are you just programmed to know it? Did you search the internet to figure out what this is about?" And she goes, "What's the difference?" And he goes, "The difference is the experience. You have to experience it to know it, and not just read about it or look at the internet, essentially." So he has her reset herself so she can erase her memories or her knowledge of Casablanca. And in doing that, the robot, the AI, finds new pathways to explore within itself and is able to unlock little entities within herself that weren't there before, one of which being very sexual. And she starts to read his blood pressure and read the stressors in his life and what caused him to stress, and then she keys in on what could de-stress him. Hint, hint. And it kind of goes from there, and he avoids it because it's a robot. Also, his wife's not dead; she's waiting on a heart transplant, and he's gonna bang his housekeeper robot, who happens to be Megan Fox. And the robot is not built like a robot; the robot is built like Megan Fox. So in this, eventually she tricks it. Well, doesn't really trick him; he does it for sure. Like, he hits that, but it's because she blindfolds him, and then she starts changing her voice into the voice pattern of his wife.
Ooh,
And so she starts talking with him blindfolded. She starts talking to him like she's his wife, and it's all to lower his stress levels. Basically, like a smut film almost, with less smut, and it's guised as like a horror movie. It wasn't great.
Who's the asshole that made it Megan Fox? Like, why wouldn't you make your AI subservient droid look like Robin Williams? You know
So
what I mean?
they do talk about that, by the way, because there is one, like a nanny that's like a Manny robot, and it's like this old guy that kind of looks like Santa Claus that's bald with a long mustache.
Okay. Biff
And
Whiff.
the mother hints at, hey, I see why you picked her, and he's like, what do you mean? And she's like, I know your type, and he's like, your daughter picked that one. So that's kind of how they address that.
Mm.
Overall, it's a popcorn. You don't need to see it. It came out this year. I wanted to get some new movies on our books. It was hard for me to find some quick films to get in. This one's at an hour and 46 minutes. So I tried to get this one knocked out from 2024. It's a popcorn. It's got all your typical horror tropes. AI comes to life, attacks humans around it. Be careful what you wish for. They're taking our jobs. All of that stuff plays a role. All right. So the last thing I watched was called Surveillance. Or Surveyor. Yeah, Surveyors. Surveillance.
Surveilled by a Ronin Pharaoh.
Yeah, surveilled. Thank you. It is surveilled by Ronan Farrow. And he is famous for doing a bunch of stuff, like as far as investigative reporting is concerned. He's the one that caught what was it a while back? He did the Woody Allen stuff against his mother, Mia Farrow. He did another one that was huge too. He broke a huge
stuff, right?
Yeah, the Weinstein stuff. Yeah. He's the one that broke the Weinstein stuff. Exactly, Jordan. Good pull. So he's done a lot of this stuff, and now he's going into spyware that's being put on phones, and governments are actually purchasing it to spy on their people under the guise of national security, but they're actually using it to spy on like regular citizens or their political rivals in a lot of cases. So one of the main places they take this is Spain, where I didn't even know this. There's an independent Republic of Spain that considers its capital Barcelona, and it's I can't remember what it's called. It's like it's Catalonia or something like that, Catalonia. Something like that. And they want independence apparently from Spain, capitaled by Madrid. And it goes into how Madrid, Spain bought this software called Pegasus from the Israelis who designed it to spy on those that wanted independence, the politicians that believed in independence, wanted to fight for independence. And it goes down the road of, Abu Dhabi has this. Israel's used it to spy on Palestine and the Gaza Strip. It's all over the place, and it digs really deep into this stuff. And the overall point is there's no resolution. This is a new AI, and it's here to stay. And really, if you really want to get rid of it, you're going to have to ask people to get rid of their phones and their laptops.
Interesting.
It's the mark of the beast, man.
It's popcorn
over,
one.
Man.
It's a popcorn one. So I mean, I don't know what to think of it. I kind of had this feeling anyway. I've always told people if they want to spy on you, they can. Like if you're not off the grid. Yeah, I tell people all the time. People are like, "Well, your device listens to you," and I was like, "Yeah, but they don't really care. They just want to sell you stuff." Like you're coming at it from a standpoint of they're trying to listen. No one gives a damn about what you had with your dinner, Paul. All right, they want to know other things, important things, and you're not on their radar. So I'm not shocked by a lot of it, but it is interesting to see, like, hey, this isn't going anywhere. Governments are going to keep investing in it under the guise of national security. Poppin' one. It's an hour watch on Max, though. Hour watch on Max.
That's not bad.
Not terrible.
What you got going on, Jiordan?
Not terrible. Got to get through it.
It's called Starting Five. All right, and we've got Jimmy Butler, Anthony Edwards, LeBron James, Jason Tatum, and Domantas Sabonis. And it's just a peek into their lives throughout a season. They try to make you feel bad for them, and it's
Sometimes my
cool.
feet really hurt.
I would have to say, like, basketball players have got to be the most full of themselves athletes. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, and
Yeah,
track stars.
yeah, for sure. Jason Tatum is kind of the spotlight guy of this whole thing,
And
but
wide
he's like
receivers.
has no personality, like
Yeah,
at all. He's a
that's been
robot.
known for a long time. Everybody says that he just imitates like Kobe Bryant, and like anything Kobe Bryant did, he just tries to copy it like
Yeah,
it's new.
yeah, he's like a robot. He's even like weird with his son. Like his interactions are just very like impersonal. I don't
Robotic.
know. He just yeah, he just says weird things. He gets to his championship and that's cool. Anthony Edwards is kind of like one of those guys where he's super obnoxious, but that's the kind of guy you want on your team. They went. I don't think like we're everybody's. If you're not a Laker or LeBron fan, like you really don't like LeBron. So do we need to? They could have went with somebody that we don't know a whole bunch about already.
Mm.
Pick somebody.
I don't know if that's fair. I do think LeBron James is the best basketball player to ever live, and I'm not a huge fan of LeBron James.
Whoa.
I mean,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's in the stats, it's in the numbers. It's just you could throw Michael Jordan's rings at me forever. I'm in the age group that got to watch Michael Jordan play, and I was lucid enough to know what I was seeing. And yes, he was the most fantastic player that I've ever watched. However, the best basketball player I've ever seen is LeBron James, and it's soon to be Nikola Jokic. So, like, I'm sorry, I'm just being honest.
yeah, like I'm a huge Steph Curry fan, but we already all know a whole bunch about Steph Curry and like LeBron. Like, pick somebody we
You
don't.
slurp up anything they put out on Steph Curry. So just stop right there.
I mean, yeah,
You love that. Anything they put out on Steph Curry, you're gonna slurp up. You watch the
yeah.
documentary. Did you watch his golf show too? What was that
Did
golf?
for like a little bit,
A little bit.
yeah, it burnt out pretty quick, but this was cool. I give it a popcorn and two. I like the way that they produce this. It's pretty cool, I guess. Yeah.
That's
What
cool.
was what was the most interesting athlete in the show?
Jimmy Butler for sure. He's a character.
Is he?
Yeah. Yeah, I think he gets portrayed as like kind of a cancer, like a locker room cancer kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
But no, he comes off well in this. He's a cool guy.
It reminds me, I just saw Neil Brennan talking about athletes, and he said, I'm going to butcher it, but he said something like, the new age, everyone's talking about therapy and mental health, and I'm all for that. Everyone should have the best day ever. Everyone should be as mentally healthy as possible, except athletes. And then he said, you don't want, we all saw the Jordan thing. Was he mentally healthy? And you don't want that. You want an absolute psychopath hell-bent on revenge on your team. So that's what I was thinking of when you were talking about the players.
Yeah, for sure.
No, I wholeheartly agree with that. You want a murderer.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like you
Same
want
thing for
somebody
Marines. You don't want normal people to be Marines.
or like special forces. Like special forces. Like no, like I want him to be or her to be kind of narcissistic. Like I do. I want that in them. I want them to be overly confident that they're going to be able to accomplish this mission.
Yeah,
You know,
give
and
them
it's the
plenty
same with
of
athletes.
food and money.
All right, so yeah, I was when Jordan's saying, are they like the most arrogant of all athletes, things like that. I'm like, yeah, my life's real hard. I have to get this $500,000 massage every week. It's kind of tough.
Pretty much.
So Jordan, sorry, I thought Josh was throwing it to you for the drunk classic, and that's why I was teasing Josh about what segment are we going to throw it to Jordan for.
Oh.
So we do want to know though, what are we watching this week? The power is in your hands.
This is one I've been had in the clip. So I'm gonna go ahead and do it. We are watching Law Abiding Citizen with
Oh, it's on my list too.
Oh.
Jamie Foxx
Abiding
and
Citizen.
Gerard Butler.
I own this film.
Good movie.
Law-abiding citizen. I didn't know what this movie was about when I first saw it, and did not disappoint. It was good.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Yeah,
Can't wait.
there's a lot about this movie. I remember I hadn't watched it. This is in my phase where I was going through a really tough time and I wasn't watching like a lot of movies. Like I was kind of like whatever was on Netflix type stuff on the Xbox 360, and it came out and I was working at Best Buy as like way underpaid person, like frustrated with life, and a guy that I work with goes, "You've not seen this?" And I said, "No." He goes, "You need to watch it, and then you need to watch it again." That's how he sold it to me.
That's a good sell.
That's funny.
All right, so I love it, Jordan. That's a good pick. That is a classic. It's a modern classic, a modern drunk classic. I want to say 2012, right? So 2013, no, 2010.
A
2010.
movie about vigilantism, which reminds me of our butter on top,
What is that, Josh?
Kraven the Hunter.
Josh, give us a little background on who Kraven the Hunter is in the comic books.
Kraven the Hunter is a master hunter, but he's a big game hunter, classically a villain in the Spider-Man verse. And you first meet him when he says the greatest game on Earth is man, and it's Spider-Man. So he's hunting after Spider-Man. That's his whole thing. He's got some kind of mystical powers a la Black Panther, but I'm told, and based kind of on the movie, they're totally rewriting him and making him sort of a good guy. I'm interested to see that. Eco-warrior, perhaps. And it's going to have a guy who's been a superhero 3 times now. The main character.
Yeah.
He was Kick-Ass and Quicksilver. The one that wasn't as entertaining. And now he's going to be Kraven the Hunter. I'm interested to see it. I like him.
I love that their marketing campaign for this movie is please forgive us for Madam Web and Morbius and give this movie a chance, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. Remember that garbage we did like the last 5 years? Fuck it. Watch this, though.
You're gonna get a little Russell Crowe too, though, right? A little Russell Crowe action in this movie.
Russell Crowe
playing the father. So I think it should be fun.
I'm sure he's gonna kill some poachers violently. So big fan.
It looks fun. The trailer looks fun. And by the way, remember I was trying to tell you guys, there's a trailer for a movie that has the Johnny Cash song in it. Like there's a man walking around. In this, it's this movie with this trailer with a list in his hand, right? That. It's this trailer. So
hear the piper. Yeah.
So it's. I think it's gonna be good. I don't think it's gonna be like world breaking or anything like that.
It'll be fun.
If anything, again, you get to stare at a very very handsome man for jacked about up. 2 hours. That's he's all jacked up, kind of like a Fall Guy. Who was it in Fall Guy? Who was the other actor in Fall Guy? Was it him as well? Yeah, it's him as well, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And he's also in the Bullet Train.
He is in Bullet Train, all jacked up. So yeah, he's been getting jacked for these last few roles that he's been doing.
And he's being eyed for 007, so let's keep an eye on him for that.
Is he? I've been hearing Orlando Bloom for about 37 years.
Thank you.
Along with Idris Elba.
I would take Idris Elba, but he's a little old.
That's what I'm saying. Like, let's get a young one. Let's get about 19 movies out of him, and then we're good to move on. Just like we're good to move on today. It was a good show. It was fine. We had more time to talk about some sad anime movies. We had a little bit of time to talk about Y2K and why it was only a popcorn, and Jordan telling you, hey, don't worry about going to the theater to see this. And don't worry, Jordan, it doesn't look like anybody has worried about going to the theater to see this based on its numbers so far. I think Kraven's going to do numbers. I think it's the only thing that comes out this weekend. I think it's the holiday season. I think people are home for the holidays and looking for ways to not have to talk to each other. And what better way than to be together without having to talk to each other than going to a movie, sitting down and enjoying a popcorn. And don't worry, because we got the beer. We'll see you next week.